Hey, this your girl, Michelle.
It's Mariah, also known as Mariah Amazing.
And Yuna.
Hi, everyone. Melanin Voice. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mariah. If you want to do it, then do it.
Melanin Voices. I got you.
This is Melanin Voices, hey. And maybe Nova. Baby Nova might be sick.
She might make a feature.
Yeah, she...
Make a feature. Yeah. But we have a special guest today, so Mariah, I'll let you take over.
Yes. So we have my best friend, Jazmyne, Dr. Jazmyne Peters.
Almost.
She's going to school for a doctor's degree, and I'll let you kind of steal the floor, Jazz, so you can tell them.
Sure. Well, hi, I'm Jazmyne. Yeah, so like Mariah said, I'm going to school right now. I'm in my third year of my doctoral program, getting my degree in counseling psychology. So all those Black therapists that we need, I'm one of them, and trying to expand that as quickly as possible. But yeah, I'm really excited to be here, and thank y'all for having me.
Yay, thanks for coming.
Thank you for coming. No, we really appreciate it. And congratulations on just the progress in general. Like you haven't, it's not, you ain't the finish line yet, but just the fact that you're close.
Yeah. Thank you. It's been quite the journey so far. So I'm just ready to wrap the rest of it up.
We know, Jazz.
2 more years.
Not bad. It's all gonna be worth it in the end. I already know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not letting nobody call me nothing but Dr. Peters. So
okay, you deserve it.
I think Jazmyne fell in.
Oh shit.
Okay.
Dr. Jazmyne or Dr. Pete?
Dr. Whatever.
As long as it's a doctor before.
Dr. Jazmyne, Dr. Markiva,
Mrs. Doctor.
Peters Doctor. I don't care.
As long as there's a doctor in there somewhere.
Jazmyne Peters, PhD, whatever you want to say.
You paid for it.
I did.
But I just had her on the show because first of all, it's amazing that she is becoming a doctor. Second of all, I think that mental health is very important, not just in general, but also in the Black community. Like, it's not something that's always discussed. So I wanted to have her on the show so we could discuss it and go a little bit deeper into it with somebody who actually knows about it. So yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Mariah kind of gave y'all the spoiler alert. We're going to be talking about mental health if y'all didn't already
know. We're coloring outside the lines. Okay.
I don't know what Mariah's timeline is today, but we're coloring outside the lines today. But yeah, we're going to talk about mental health.
That was the next thing anyways.
And
not a message.
Jazmyne. What?
Kind of. Maybe.
Yeah.
But yes.
True.
I'm too excited, you guys.
Well, let's go ahead and get started so we can get into all the questions that we have. But let's first get into our what's going on, girl talk, catch up, whatever we want to call it. So what y'all been up to?
Well, me personally, I'm still kind of... if y'all talk... I'm going to go first.
No, yeah, you can go first. Go first.
I'm still kind of working on transferring at my job, but I'm also working on being okay with being still. Like, I always want something to be going, like something new to be happening, something to be going on, but I realize that it's important to also appreciate where I am and the things that I have now. So I'm just learning to kind of work with what I have. Because, oftentimes people will be like, I can't wait till I do this so I could do this, but I want to utilize what I have right now. And so, yeah, that's me. What about you guys?
Wow, I have had a crazy busy day, so I guess I'll go next. Crazy busy, just transition. And I've been renovating my first floor unit. I just found out that this lady was so dirty. She has roaches.
Oh.
Nova agrees. She has roaches. She has grease. She never cleaned her kitchen. It was just really gross. So my husband and I have been really going flip or flop on that in that unit. It's just really nasty. So that's what I've been doing, and I've been showing the unit. I showed 3 people today, so 2 people tomorrow, and then 3 people on Wednesday to hopefully make a final decision on who I'm going to go with. So there's my crazy busy. Oh, and I haven't told y'all, but I'm having an event called Living Single in the City in New York. So it's going to be a speed dating event. It's going to be my first one, and I'm super excited. So hopefully it goes well. I already got 13 people.
Can I come?
Nope. Wait. Yes. Girl, yes. Come to New York and do it. But yes, it's going to be fun. Yes. I'm done. I have to grab Nova. So.
Well, my week has been not hectic, but I obviously got, fired from my job, as I said last week. I'm not sad by it. And, I'm really, what I'm mad at? I'm mad at people that keep coming to me like I'm terminally ill, asking me like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm not sorry. So why are you sorry?
You should tell me you were relieved. That sounds better.
I'm relieved, sis. And most times people are not asking out of concern. They're literally just asking me nosy. I don't like that. But so that's what I've been like going through, and I can't sit still. So I got a new position at this like local restaurant that I'm probably gonna not be at too much longer. So that's that. Just trying to navigate not being employed, but trying to like be still, like be okay with that, and kind of catch up on some traveling, and catch up on actually trying to apply for things I actually want to do. So that's it. That's my
shorty.
My spiel.
What about you, Jazz?
What you been up to?
Oh shoot. Let's see. What did happen this last week? Listen, being a doctoral program, the weeks all blend together. Like it don't even make sense no more. But I think what happened was, she don't even know. I just been doing papers, wrapping up the quarter. We're on I go to the University of Denver, and we're on the quarter system instead of the semester system. So the quarter just wrapped up, turned in final papers. Still wrapping up with some clients because I'm about to be done with my little practicum placement, which are just places that we need to go kind of for like a 9-month period to like administer therapy. So I've been working at like the Health and Counseling Center on our campus and just wrapping up with clients there. Everybody's going home for the summer for the most part. So it's been kind of crazy, but just, pulling these all-nighters, getting these papers done. Grading papers. I also teach. So that's been a journey because people don't know how to write.
You're a busy one.
Just, trying to keep my sanity.
She is.
Yeah.
Busy bee.
Yeah. It's not fun. But I'm so grateful. Thank you to the Lord Jesus, right?
Because you could be at home doing nothing. Okay.
All right. That's all that matters. But no, I feel like girl talk. I love girl talk because we get to talk about what we're up to. But I wanted to ask a question, everybody. So, what was one thing you did this week to push you towards your goals? Well, Michelle, I feel like you did something this week to push you towards yours.
I did. I straight up went into overdrive and trying to hurry up and hopefully I find a tenant before I leave to Miami this weekend. So
yeah.
But I have a goal for my event planning too. Lately I have more females who have already bought tickets. So I'm shortage of males, so I'm gonna have to go into overdrive and like go to some barbershops, like looking cute or something, and be like, yo, y'all need to come to this event. Cause I don't know why dudes do not like speed dating events.
Yeah, that's dumb.
Yeah, but so I'm a little closer to that goal. But
yeah, and you're cleaning that place and trying to get new tenants. Closer to that too.
Yeah, I'm closer to that. So I've been grinding hard, which I've been doing to get closer to y'all's goals.
Last night, I walked so I live in Tigerland, which is like really close to LSU and like the bars and stuff like that. So I kind of just walked around because I want to, as we all probably want to do, be more healthy. So I just been taking small steps to do that. So, and everybody knows that I like to be outside. So it was kind of like a double fold thing. Like I enjoyed walking and I got, burned some calories. So that's me. What about you, Mariah?
I'm blanking. I'm really blanking. Well, I edited my resume and my mom is trying to get an internship this summer too. So I edited hers and made her a new one. So I've been pushing towards my goal of being able to have more time with my family and close people, like close friends, since I've been let go of work, which is great. So now I have time to like pay attention to other things in my life that I was kind of neglecting while I was at work. So,
what about your site? So why am I just now seeing it?
My website?
Your Instagram.
Your
Instagram website.
My Instagram. So if you guys don't know, Tinjin is a natural hair company called Thank God I'm Natural, and they're having application opening for a social media manager. So I wanted to be a social media manager for them because, first of all, I'm already natural, and second of all, I feel like I can do, like, my vision aligns with their vision. So I wanted to like apply. So one of the requirements was to make an Instagram kind of like portraying natural beauty and kind of like tailoring to like how they do theirs already. Like aligning it with that. And so I did. And the CEO looked at my page, so I'm not sure when she's going to start doing interviews, but I really have a really, really good shot at her interviewing me, since she did like go through my page and actually like give it.
I just love how you're doing so much since you left your job. Even while you were there, you were doing so much, but now you're like Michelle says, in overdrive. I think that's so wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah, me too. Like, you out here shooting your shot. Some people don't think like, oh, I can't do that, or it won't happen to me. But you out here, like, you know, doing what you need to do. So I hope everything works out. And if it don't work out, something else has to give. So I think you should just continue
If
doing
it doesn't
that.
work out, I'm gonna move to New York and just wing it.
Come. I'll give you my unit for the low. You had it for the low. Yeah, for the low.
But yeah.
Yes, I got
But yeah, that's it, y'all. That's all I've been doing. So yes.
Good. That's what we like to hear. So let's get it cracking. Let's get the hot topic, because I'm excited to talk about. I mean, it's a sad thing to talk about, but it's something that I think we need to hear and we need to know, and a lot of people in our community do not hear about this.
No.
So I'm excited to talk about. I know a lot of people was going in on Instagram or social media talking about, oh, now y'all want to talk about mental health. Now y'all care about mental health. Now y'all care about mental health. Like, do we always have to be so combative about everything? Be quiet. But yes, it's too much.
Right, exactly. I think that
Nova is hungry, y'all. So
we understand Nova. We are too. But no, I totally understand. People just don't understand the severity of it, and now that it's getting attention, they think that it's been something that's been not talked about much, but it's always been talked about. They're just not noticing it, so that's their own mishap. But yeah, I'm getting to the message of the week, which is mental health. So we wanted to kind of like start you off with like what sparked your interest in like getting started with mental health. Like, what made you want to do that?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Well, I'm going to answer these questions to the best of my ability. So, basically, like I said, I'm getting my doctorate right now in counseling psychology. And I think what sparked my interest in mental health was seeing a lot of issues in my own family. And just the people around me, specifically Black men, and just like the stuff that they go through, and the way they internalize those messages and refuse to like seek help. Like, I don't know if y'all be on social media and stuff like that. I don't know if y'all see like the messages and stuff. Like, this isn't what sparked it, but this is kind of like what reinforced it for me, especially like through the process, where people are like, you know, like girlfriends of Black men specifically are like always having to be their therapist and like, you know, like deal with all their emotional BS and stuff like that. And that's what I was seeing in my life. And I was like, you know what, this is ridiculous. Like, people are dealing with things from childhood, like Black families. There's a lot of dysfunction within the Black family. There's also a lot of right things in the Black family. So I'm not here to like bash Black families by any means, but like there's so much dysfunction and there's so many secrets and things that you don't talk about and things, you know, just let God handle it. Just take it to church, just do this. And people are suffering like internally, and they don't even know what's happening to them. Like they're not even able to recognize like what's going on. And the media just like really does an awful job of representing mental health concerns and like how to handle them. And, you know, you have people thinking like therapy is you sitting on a couch talking to somebody about all your repressed memories, and it's like not that. And so what I really wanted to do specifically for my community is the Black community is exactly why I got involved in mental health, is to like tear down that stigma, like that mental health is not for us, that it's a white people's thing, because it's not. Because we got a lot of stuff going on, along with like regular things that people go, not regular, but typical things that people go through, like depression, anxiety, trauma, things like that. Like we also have the trauma of being Black in this society, and that really makes everything so much worse for us. And people don't want to sit and talk to a white person. A lot of the time, Black people don't want to sit and talk to a white person about what's going on with them. Like, you know, we have that kind of unspoken rule that like you don't bring inside business to outside people. Like, you don't talk in mixed company about what's going on, because they won't understand it, because they're going to stigmatize you. They're going to stereotype you. They're going to do whatever. And so like a lot of people I talk to were like, I will go to therapy if I could find a Black therapist. And I felt the same way. And so I guess my thought was, instead of complaining about how there's no Black therapist, instead of complaining about how, you know, like we don't access mental health care, like why don't I get involved in that mental health in that mental health care process, and become a resource and become that Black therapist that someone might be able to come and talk to, that someone might feel comfortable seeking that help from, because I actually have a passion for the field, which a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't care about psychology like that. They don't care about emotions and stuff like that. But since I do, I figured, why not use my skills in that way? So that's kind of what sparked my interest, I guess. The long answer.
Well, we needed that.
Oh my gosh, you are for real preaching to the choir. I'm over here like, amen, amen. Yeah, like, please keep going, keep going, keep going. No, for real. No, you said some the realest stuff. And I wish I could like sit down and like pick your brain, because I'm so interested in.
I'm open to it anytime.
I'm just really interested in trauma in general, because we are so traumatized. And my husband, he trains in trauma, so I learned a lot from him as well. But man, I can't wait to ask you more questions. So let's keep going. I'm like, yo, she's for real preaching.
Yeah. I'm open.
Okay, I just want to say that I really appreciate the fact that you saw a need in our community and you did something about it. Because most of the times we kind of see a need and then we talk about how we don't have it, but we don't do anything about it. So I just appreciate the fact that you stepped up and was like, okay, I don't see it, so I'm gonna do it myself, you know? How did you stay motivated enough to even attempt a doctoral degree? And then also there's twofold to this question. What areas of trauma do you specialize in? So I barely got my bachelor's degree. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out how you just kept it going, because it's hard, girl. It's hard out here. Okay,
so hard. Yeah. So I guess to the part of how do I stay motivated, I guess I'll respond to that first. Like, I don't really know. I mean, there's a lot of things like I went into my doctorate degree directly from my bachelor's. So I graduated that summer and then started my doctoral degree in the fall of that same year. And part of it for me was just like, I really like school. I like learning. And so I was like, the last thing I personally did not want to get a job, to be completely honest.
Me neither.
And I really wanted to be able to like further the education. And I really appreciated that topic. And so, backtracking just a little bit, like my junior year of college, of undergrad, I took a psychology of racism course. And that's the first time I realized that I could integrate like psychology and like race-based issues, specifically Black issues. And I didn't even think that was a thing. And so like, that's when I was like, bet if I can talk about Blackness all day, I'm there. Like, I'm going to do it. So that was like really, I think, part of what really helped motivate me to want to even like go that route. And was realizing like writing up papers and stuff like that where I'm talking about this, like I recognized the amount of energy and like enthusiasm I had with it. And I was like, this is cool. This is what I want to do. Like, it also, like reading a lot of articles and books and stuff like that, it also helped me realize that like these concepts aren't new. People have been studying them for decades. And now I have the language to talk about it. And so that was also like another motivator to kind of see what else is out there and what else people have been talking about in other areas that I didn't even know were a thing, but like are so relevant to what we're going through. And so just kind of being able to put a name or like a concept on something that we all have been experiencing for our entire lives was so much motivation for me. And then on top of that, like getting into the program, I mean, I'm not here to bash my program or nothing, but at the same time, like there are some real serious issues with race in the program and like the way that they treat people of color. And specifically, there's a group of us in my program who are Black women, or not Black women, women of color. Sorry. There's another Black woman who has been like helping me through this whole program. We've helped each other a lot, but like we've been able to kind of know that what we're experiencing is real and that like these people are really like out to get us at a lot of different points in our careers. And so like just recognizing that this is not just because someone can talk about it on an academic level and cultural diversity and racism and all of this doesn't mean that they practice it. And so that was a huge motivator for me, because I'm like, so we're sitting with these clients and you don't even really believe the stuff about race that you're talking about. You don't believe the stuff about like the influences of diversity and culture that you're talking about. So I need to be here. Like I have to be here because I actually do believe it and I actually do practice it. And so do other people. But there's so many of y'all that don't, that like I can't leave. Like I can't do this to my community, to other communities that are marginalized. So that was really like a huge motivator for me. And just honestly, sometimes when I'm ready to give up, I just close my eyes and I imagine them calling my name as I walk across that stage. And that's like, okay, I think I can do this. I think I can do this. And just staying up specifically with Black culture and stuff like that, and just like looking at what's going on and the commentaries, the blogs, the articles that are written about it. I think that also really helps me to stay motivated and just really want to like dive in more and be able to explain it more. Every time I'm ready to give up, something happens where I'm like, yeah, no, I can't. Like,
that's
this
beautiful.
is what
like
we
you,
need.
it seems like you're just getting confirmation after confirmation after confirmation that this is something that you need to be doing, and I appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate the question. I appreciate it.
Okay, I have a question. Who do you have anybody who you like, authors or any like motivational people who you found to really keep you going as well? Like, I know a couple people, but who do you refer to, or you have like some YouTubers, like people you listen to who like are, really educated in this field that you go
so
to?
People who talk about like the social motivational people who talk about the social aspect of what's going on, like, I mean, I'm sure y'all familiar with Sean King and like Mark Lamont. Dr. Mark Lamont Hill is another one. He's a Morehouse professor. And then who am I thinking of? There's a lot of different bloggers that I don't even recognize their names all the time, but I just listen to them. Yeah, well, yeah, people like Amanda Seals and stuff like that. Even like social commentators that like people who comment on social happenings through like their art, like Issa Rae, things like that are just happening. Like, the other podcasts to read, like the stuff that they comment on, the stuff that's going on, that's like, oh, this is really helpful to like kind of get a different perspective on it, or to get the same perspective I have, but articulated it a little bit different. As far as academically, there are a lot of people that I do like to read. And this is definitely more like academic peer-reviewed journal articles, but a man named Robert T. Carter, Dr. William Cross, let's see, Dr. Sean Utsey. Like, there's so many. I can like definitely provide y'all with a list, because right now I'm writing my dissertation, and so I have those like more academic resources at the forefront of my mind. But those are some of the people that I've definitely like, been able to dive more into. There's names that of course I'm blanking right now just because I'm being asked, so that sucks. But there's names that I know that I'm forgetting right now, so forgive me for that. But I think those are the people that I kind of go to when I really want to hear something specific. Like people like Angela Rye, like, what is the other name? Things like, yeah. Like, I love hearing their perspective, especially from a political lens, because white people love to like try and gaslight us and pretend like what's happening isn't happening, and they're able to talk in that language to convey a point. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate those people that can talk, that can decode our messages, or the messages of white people and what they're actually trying to say, so that like we're not lost in all of the jargon and all of the BS that they're trying to put forth. And yeah. So yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I got you.
You're going to make that list for me.
I got to look at it.
Give you some more homework.
Yes.
Give us that list.
We had another one. So, what's the most common misconception about Black people and their psyche?
Ooh. So let me go ahead and get ready for this one. The most common misconception is that we're fine, for one. Like, Black people are extremely resilient, as are many people of color and people who have marginalized identities, whether that's LGBTQ identities, especially Black LGBTQ populations, because they have that intersection of identities, and we have to be resilient. Like, we have to be able to handle a lot of BS. Like, we talk about kind of these sensitive, I'm going to talk a lot about, like, the way that I talk a lot is a Black-white dichotomy. So I am going to be, like, kind of doing that comparison quite a bit, just to let y'all know. So, like, we think about like when white people complain about something, it's like, oh my God, girl, that's not even that serious. Like, do you know what I'm going through? Do you know what we go through as a people? Da, 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 da. And we go through those things and we think that we're fine, and we're not. Like, we're genuinely not. And so one of the, actually, I think that you would ask this question already and I didn't actually answer it, so my apologies. But one of the things the type of trauma that I specialize in specifically is a concept that's called racial trauma. And it's the trauma that we experience as specifically Black individuals because we are in a society that devalues and invalidates our entire existence, like daily. And so, like the thing, like we think we're resilient, we think we can handle it, and we think it's not affecting us. And it absolutely is, like at every single turn. So even doing things like avoiding certain places that we know might be a little more racist, avoiding certain people, not going for certain job opportunities, not being able to focus on like certain aspects of our jobs, our lives, our schoolwork, whatever it is. Things like migraines, feeling nauseous out of nowhere, like hypertension. Like there's physical manifestations of racism, and it's manifested as a trauma. And we think that we're cool, we think that we're good, we think we don't need it. Like I said, Christianity is really prominent in the Black community, and so we think that all we need to do is pray on it. And we do need to pray on it. If that's your religious affiliation, definitely pray on it, but also go seek help. Like God didn't put therapists here just to be lackadaisical about it. Like y'all need to utilize that resource, because what we're going through is a lot. Like we see these things happen all the time. We see, like, we see people who are actually struggling with depression. And there's some people who are listening to this right now, or even who are on this podcast right now, who know that they're struggling with depression or anxiety, or don't know it because they don't even know what it's supposed to look like. Like depression is not always sitting on a couch, eating ice cream, crying all day. Like it can be being irritable for no reason and not understanding why you're so upset or so angry. It can be like losing your appetite. It can be overindulging in food. It can be not being able to sleep. It could be sleeping too much. Like there's so many different things about depression. Anxiety can just be like that constant feeling of like hypervigilance, which is like your flight or fight response, where you're like constantly feeling like you're just like ready to react to something. And what it is you're feeling anxious. You're feeling really anxious, and you don't even understand that that's what's going on. And you're trying to identify what's going on in your life, and you really can't, because sometimes just existing is anxiety inducing. Like, and we don't consider the fact that like just existing for us is a problem sometimes. Like just existing for us is hard sometimes, harder than it is for our white counterparts to just exist. And so we think we're good. We think we're cool. Like we go to points of really deep depression, and then we get back to the point where we're just depressed and we think we're fine. And it's like, no, you're still struggling. You're just now a little bit more able to manage it maybe on your own, but you should still be able to talk about those things. Like all of this whole, like, we keeping this in-house, we not talking about it, like whatever happened in the family, we just need to keep it in the family. Now, I'm not saying you need to go and tell all your friends about it. I'm not saying that you need to go, and like blog about it or anything like that, but you do need to go talk to somebody. And there are low and reduced cost like therapists and counselors who will sit with somebody for as low as $5 a week, $5 a session, and talk to them and talk to you about like what's going on and help you process those emotions. Like talking is helpful. Like when people think about how you feel when you're stressed out about something and finally you just get a chance to talk about it and you just feel a little bit better. Like how would you feel when you're sitting there and you're talking to somebody who's completely removed from the situation? They don't know you. They don't know the people in your life. They don't have any room to pass judgment. You get to tell them as little or as much as you want to. And you can like literally just like relieve yourself of that burden of having to go through whatever it is that you're going through on your own. So I don't know, like I can definitely get on a tangent about that, because the other thing I was going to say is that we often compare ourselves to other people and to other people's struggles.
So knowing that, Jazz, that you go through all that, like, well, not that you go through all that, but that you have to hear or like not even like deal with people's signs of trauma and everything like that, but like what are some self-care practices that you do like to help you out personally?
Yeah, self-care is like incredibly important, especially in our field, because we do sit all day and we listen to the absolute worst parts of people's lives. Like, it gets emotionally exhausting and really taxing, and sometimes it's hard to not internalize that. Like when people are telling you about, sexual assaults and abuse and loss and grief and all loss of relationships, loss of people and their families, like to death or to accidents or whatever the case might be, like that's so exhausting. And so like what I typically personally like to do, like when I get home, I typically don't like talking to nobody because I just need a minute, because I've listened for hours and hours to everything that people have gone through. And so sometimes I just need a minute to like take a step back and just like do something mindless. So like I'll watch a show that I think is funny. I'll listen to a podcast that I think is funny, listen to y'all, listen to listen. I also, Mariah knows this. I'm a very big horror fan. So like I'll listen. I listen to this podcast that's like horror stories and stuff like that. Something that's completely unrelated to what I was just doing. Just to decompress, to turn my brain off for a minute, to just take a breath, like, damn, and then sometimes like I'll do things like, I don't know, like, okay, well, and this is not necessarily like you got to do this, you got to toe the line with this one, but like maybe have a drink, not like 7, because that's teeter-tottering into like really dangerous territories, but I might like have a drink or two or something like that, or just be around people that I know make me happy and uplift me and like give me some kind of spiritual, mental well-being, just being in their presence. Go get some ice cream. Some like there's little things to do to like take care of yourself, whether that's like a bubble bath or just talking to somebody that you really enjoy their presence or whatever. Like I was saying, if it means turning off your mind, it means turning off your mind. If it means getting a glass of wine or a beer or something like that, then do it. Like, and it really is dependent on who like that person is, you know, like self-care really matters on what it is that you enjoy. So whenever people ask me for self-care strategies, like I like to give some, but at the same time I'm really cautious about telling people what to do, because if it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for you. Like Mariah, like I'm not about to tell you like, girl, take care of yourself, go get some wine. Like you know, like that's not your forte, so I'm not gonna tell you to do something like that. But like people like to just take a walk. Like that's not my forte specifically.
It's Eunice.
Okay, don't come for me.
It needs to be.
You be walking, girl. I need to be walking too. I need to walk.
No, I need to try and find joy in that.
I don't like it.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just do whatever I feel is gonna help me decompress in the moment, and just like, because I mean, as I was saying before, like I'm really busy like all the time. There's always a paper that needs to be written. There's always something that needs to be graded. There's always something that needs to be done. So like sometimes my self-care only can last like an hour or like 30 minutes. And even if that's just like putting my phone on do not disturb and like not really answering to nobody, not really making plans with nobody, like people ask me, what am I doing? I say nothing. Like that's a plan. Doesn't mean I don't have plans yet. It means I plan to do nothing today, you know? Yeah. Like, so taking that time and not feeling guilty about it, those are all kind of self-care strategies, I guess.
Yeah.
What are you guys' self-care strategies, Mariah and Una? Like quick, I guess. Is there anything you guys do specifically?
Yeah, I think what Jazz said. Well, that's when I did have that. My old job, it was more so I had to call people up to like 240 people a day. So after like speaking to people every day, at that amount of people every day, I did not want to speak to people. So it was I liked when I didn't talk to anybody all day. But now that I'm like removed from that situation, self-care to me is possibly like going to get a bite to eat that I really enjoy, or I know this may sound crazy, but I love the sauna. I know I don't like to work out, but I love the sauna. So just going to the sauna is nice for me.
Want to sweat?
Yeah, I love the sauna. Like if the gym doesn't have a sauna, I do not want to have a membership there. Mm-hmm. But that's me, and that's what works for me. So I can't really think of anything else at this moment. But yeah. Or you know what? Back in the day, when people actually like to do hair well, getting my hair done was really nice because you know they wash it, condition, whatever. But yeah, that's it. What about you, Yuna? Hiking?
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Hiking.
I took offense because I thought you said drinking, so my bad. But
Can
you hear me now? Is it better?
Yuna, is your mic on 100 or something?
Right in the mic. I was like right here.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it was just like boom, like you was very right there. Okay, go ahead. Yes, okay. Fine.
I like taking walks, or writing. That usually helps me. I stopped doing it for a long time, but I just felt like getting my thoughts out on paper is easiest for me. That way I won't have nobody judging me, about, or feeling like no one's judging me about what I have in my brain. I also found it's good to go to therapy. I mean, that's also a self-help thing, I think everybody should go, even if you think nothing's wrong, even if you think, you're fine. I think it's still good to go every once in a while, to have somebody, like to have an unbiased opinion. I like to cook, of course. That's pretty much it. Yeah, yoga when I'm, doing yoga. Whatever. Yeah. Whatever. What about you, Michelle?
Whatever.
I'm still trying to figure out what I do for self-care. I think I just go spend time with friends. I think I always need that at least once a month or something, like just to get away and go hang out with a group of girls or a group of like-minded people and just go talk to them and just vent everything out. I find it even easier to talk to complete strangers sometimes. Like, since being in New York, I've learned how to be alone because I had to come out here and just create a whole new life for myself. And I didn't have any friends, and things like that. So I learned how to be alone, but then I also learned that being alone means I talk a lot to myself, which means sometimes I'm like, well, I can just vent to someone. So I be finding friends, and I'm like, you end up finding like-minded people, and I just kind of let everything out. And I go home and I feel like, whew, like I feel better about everything, because like if my husband's getting on my nerves, or I have a child now, so I think I'm going to have a whole new level of like aloneness, because I'm never alone now. So ask me that when she's like a little further along, and then I'm pretty sure I'll find me a little strategy around what I do.
That's fair.
Right.
No, but what's yours? I'm just kidding though.
Don't say her name too loud.
Yeah, no, but she's like being quiet right now, so
Never mind. Right.
So she can't hear us. So.
But no, that's it.
But yes, I have another question for Jazmyne, girl. Let me get it. I guess since I'm with some off the top of my head, because I'm really interested in trauma, and you talked a lot about history and how Black people racially have we come into this world traumatized off top, like off bat. And I don't know if you're familiar, but ever since I read the Willie Lynch letter, if y'all don't know if y'all are familiar with the Willie Lynch letter, y'all should definitely look it up. He's like the mad scientist behind this is how we're going to treat Black people, and this is how we're going to keep slavery going for the next hundreds of years. Okay, so when I read that, I had it helped me to realize that we are so traumatized and the system is so rigged that Willie Lynch was a smart man. He did certain things to Black women, which makes us the reason why we are who we are today. To Black children, to Black men, and he said this is going to be a thing that's going to happen for a very long time. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts more on, one, like, have you heard about that Willie Lynch letter, and like, what do you think about it as far as trauma? And two, for some people who don't know that they're traumatized, is there a certain way that we can communicate to them to get them on that level of kind of saying you're not okay, you're not fine, and how do we get there without, we get defensive, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't need no help, I'm good. Like you said, Jesus got me, I'm going to go to church, I pray on it, I'm fine. Like, at the end of the day, you're not. So if you can just give us some tips on how do you communicate, what language do I use, how do I get my loud ass neighbor to be quiet, but I know she traumatized. Okay, second, I'm just playing. But like, what languages do I use to help, get people to like seek help, or even just vent to me, even if they didn't care,
Yeah. So I think the first part of the question was like, have I heard of the Willie Lynch letter? And I absolutely have. Mm-hmm. And I mean, just that is really kind of the foundation of everything that's wrong in this country in the first place, is that like, this exists and people will tell you it doesn't. People will tell you that it didn't exist, that it's not true, that, there's no residual effects of slavery or of what this man was talking about in the first place, or what he did in the first place. And so for those of you who, I think I used the word before, but I'll define it, the gaslighting. I don't know if y'all are familiar with that term, but it's essentially when people experience something and they're continually being told that's not what's happening. Like, and it's what's happening. And I feel like Black people specifically know that experience when they know that something's racist, but it's not blatantly racist because they weren't called like no one explicitly called them a nigger or a porch monkey or something like that. So it's like no one being racist to you. They didn't explicitly discriminate against you, but we know those little things that people do that are discriminatory, that are isolating, that are othering to us. And so like, we experience gaslighting all the time, and that kind of really perpetuates that feeling of trauma in the first place. And so like I was saying, like I need to work on the client's guide, but I created a clinician's guide, a guide for therapists to identify racial trauma in their clients, because Lord, that's a whole other issue of people not taking culture into account in therapy a lot of the time. And that's a lot of time why Black people specifically don't want to go to therapy, is because therapists have a really bad tendency to tell them that what they're experiencing is something else, something within them that they created, rather than societal factors that are pressing down on them and creating something else entirely. But so like, as far as like, how can you identify that racial trauma, like, or that you're feeling traumatized specifically racially? Like, so like I said, cognitive symptoms. So symptoms like within your mind, like difficulty concentrating or remembering things or being able to focus on tasks that you were previously able to focus on. Like, so if you see that shift, like I said, that feeling of hypervigilance, like that fight or flight response for no reason when there hasn't been something to like cause you to react in that way, but that constant feeling of anxiety, having low self-esteem, feeling depressed, feeling anxious, feeling like an emotional numbness, which is huge in the Black community, feeling like I don't even care no more. I don't even, like, you hear something awful and you barely react to it. It's because your mind and your body is starting to protect you from that. And you're not able to feel emotions the way that you were before. It doesn't mean you feel good. It means you're starting to feel nothing. And that's a huge sign that you're depressed. And it's not cool. It's not, oh, I can handle all this or whatever. All this has happened to me, so it doesn't faze me anymore. It's phasing you in a way that's honestly more dangerous than you being sad. Like, you're not even able to feel anything anymore. That's like really, really dangerous. Feeling angry, feeling like you just lost something, or like that sense of grief. Having intrusive thoughts. So like having thoughts that you would like to not be there, but that keep coming up and keep coming up, and you keep like ruminating and obsessing over. And then just like having thoughts that you refuse to acknowledge at all. So like the opposite of that, either obsessing over thoughts or refusing to acknowledge that certain things exist or are like, happening for you. Those are all signs of trauma. Things like migraines, nausea, and body aches. There's research that links a lot of different medical conditions to racial trauma, like hypertension and cancers and like cirrhosis of the liver, like lung issues, things like that, because Black people don't like to seek out physical health treatment because they don't trust doctors or they feel like they're fine. That high pain tolerance. So a lot of times, specifically Black women will be in pain and we think that we can handle it. Like, it's not that big of a deal, specifically like things like stomach pain, where it's like, we're actually really influenced by what's going on physically, and we think it's fine because we have a higher pain tolerance. We have a higher emotional and physical pain tolerance. And we often we don't get to that point where we think that it's a problem. We think that we're handling it okay, and we're really not. So that applies physically as well. Like if your stomach is acting up for no reason or whatever, like you starting to get really bad migraines, you really need to go see somebody. Just because it isn't as bad as like excruciating pain doesn't mean that it needs to go like unaddressed. So those are some symptoms. Yeah, like self-medicating. So like drinking a lot, smoking a lot, doing drugs, stuff like that. Self-harming, which definitely not talked about in the Black community. So things like cutting yourself, burning yourself, pulling your hair, hitting yourself, doing something to harm yourself in order to feel some kind of release or relief of pain. That's a huge symptom of trauma. That really specifically goes unaddressed because a lot of people feel like that's a white person's thing and they're ashamed to admit that that's something they might engage in. And it's like it's an act of regaining control over your life. Like if I can't control everything else that's going on with me, at least I can control this cut I just made. And at least like I can control this burn that I just inflicted on myself. So things like that, if you're feeling like you're running out of, like you're losing control of your life and you're trying really desperately to grasp onto things that you feel like you can control, that is a huge symptom of trauma. And even things like if you do affiliate yourself with any religion, like questioning the existence of God or whatever higher power or existence it is that you believe in, questioning humanity or questioning both of those things, distrusting like white people, which I don't know. They said that's a symptom of racial trauma, but I think that's a survival tactic. Like you can't really trust white people like that and like be okay. So, but really not trusting the people in your circle and like not trusting people without cause. Like, why are you no longer messing with nobody? You're isolating yourself. You're not talking to people anymore. And those are some of the symptoms I think that we kind of recognize, is that when people stop reaching out and they start retreating within themselves, that maybe something's wrong. But it's still a huge one. So as far as like things like that, like things that you can notice about yourself, things that like friends, hopefully if they're close enough, can notice about you. Yeah. And like just ways to reach out is just like, normalizing what's going on with somebody. Like telling them like, you know what, you just dealt with this and with that and with this. And like, that's a lot. And so I'm wondering, like, are you feeling okay? Like, how are you doing with all of this? And when people say things like, I'm good, it don't faze me no more. It's like, but really though, like that's kind of overwhelming. Like I would feel overwhelmed, even kind of relating it back to yourself, not in a way to like take attention away from the friend that you're talking to, but to kind of create that common ground. Even sometimes disclosing your own struggles with people, because a lot of times people think that they're going through it by themselves and they're like the only ones who are going through anything. So even just being like, you know what, like I've dealt with depression before, I've had suicidal thoughts before, so like I understand that, like I can connect with that feeling of hopelessness. So like, how can I be of service? How can I be helpful? I think that because of the community and our stigma against mental health, I don't know that suggesting therapy right off the bat is the best thing, because that just kind of pushes people away. And that's especially when people get defensive. Like, I don't need therapy. I'm not crazy. I'm not this. I'm not that. So like saying something like, girl, I think you might need some therapy, like with all you're going through, might be like, bitch, I'm not crazy. Like, don't tell me I need therapy.
Yeah.
Listen, like be an ear for a little bit. And then when you kind of like when you created that trust with that person in that area, like they trust you to talk about their mental health with, then maybe suggestions of therapy can come up. So like I said, like normalizing, validating, like this is normal, like what you're going through is a lot, like that's too much for one person to be able to handle by themselves. Like you might need support. You know, I'm here to support you. I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to be there for you. Even like, I mean, depending on how much research you're trying to do, but pulling up statistics, because you can literally just Google some and they're valid. I mean, make sure that the source is valid and stuff like that. But like pulling up statistics and being like, you know what, this is how many people deal with this. You're not alone. Like for instance, 9 out of 10 people experience suicidal ideation. That's a lot. And a lot of people think that they don't, like that they're the only ones who ever thought about it, or especially in their circles, when in reality, most people in their circles, if not all, have experienced that on some level before. Like, so just even doing things like that. I don't know if this is really answering your question. I'm just kind of going on a rant right now, so I'm gonna just stop.
No, that's helpful.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Really good information, because this is very informative. Most people don't know, and Nova agrees. Very informative.
Oh, the one thing I will say, like, it's really a fine line, and like one thing we like to joke about in counseling is like the magical counseling answer. Not magical, but the counseling answer is all it depends, which is really frustrating for a lot of people, because it really does depend. Like, it depends on the person. We're not the same. We don't have the same experiences. Just because, like, you know, you're a Black woman, I'm a Black woman, does not mean that we conceptualize our lives or navigate our worlds the same way. And so, like, it's really important to, like, not do too much of, like, I know what you're going through, girl. I know this, or I know that, or, like, you know, whatever. And so one thing that really you want to balance is listening to your friends, but also not becoming their sole therapist. Like, you have to care about your emotional well-being too. So like friends venting to you and like really confiding in you about what's going on it's all well and good, and it's really helpful to be that supportive friend. But if you're the only person that they're going to, that becomes emotionally taxing to the person who's trying to be helpful. And it's not that you're being a bad friend if you're like, you know what, I really think that you should like go see someone about this and go talk to someone about this. You could even say things like, I don't have the skills to help you. Like, I know too much about what's going on, and I really think that talking to an impartial third party would be really helpful for you right now. And caring about your own mental well-being, because sometimes our friends can put a lot on us that we're not really prepared to deal with. Like I said, I worked at the college counseling center. I had so many people come in stressed the hell out because their friends are only talking to them about something like suicide, and they feel responsible for keeping their friends alive. And that's a burden that's not really fair for someone to have to hold by themselves. And it's also going to contribute to your own mental health issues. Like, you can't be that sole person. So you do eventually, when you feel yourself being overwhelmed by the information that you're receiving from friends, it is okay. And it's also suggested that you let them know that, like, you should probably go seek help at this point, because I can't handle all of this with you. Like, I'm not skilled and I'm not equipped and I'm not, what's the word I'm looking for? Whatever. I don't have the resources to handle this alone.
Right. A lot of people, Black people in general, of course, don't want to, that's the last thing they want to pay for. Right. Because I think if it was something free, people would do it. You know, people would say like, "Yeah, I'll go seek some help." Do you have any resources like free help for people that they can go on to help, or is it always like you have to pay?
Or affordable?
Yeah. So I don't have free, but I do have affordable. So for those people who are on college counseling or college campuses, the counseling center, most likely you're already paying for it, so you should probably use it. Like, a lot of people, like I know up at CSU, there was, I think, 5 free sessions, and they start to charge you after that. And there's very few counseling centers that don't work with you, where you can apply for like fee reduced or potentially free counseling. but you do have to seek it out. Unfortunately, that's one of the downfalls, I think, of the field, is that it is something that you're going to have to look for. No one's really advertising free or reduced therapy. But there is, once again, like, I'm going to have to send you the list, but there are like low and reduced college or low and reduced counseling centers, like in the Denver area, and well, specifically, I guess, for the Denver area, because that's where I'm located. That'll go as low as $5 a session. And they'll also do, like, they have a treatment first policy. So even if you are like really behind and you ain't paid for the last 5 sessions, like, they're not going to refuse to see you. And so there are some places that I can think of, but like, it's really difficult because a lot of people like to go places like private practice instead of like community mental health centers. So first of all, any community mental health center you should absolutely look at. If you have insurance, they probably will work with your insurance. If you don't, then they'll probably work with you on the price. And you don't have to go every week. You can go once every other week. You can go once a month. Like, you can work with your personal therapist about the issues related to like cost. When it comes to that, a lot of times the first counseling session that you'll have is called an intake, and that's when they'll like ask you questions about your background, get an idea of who you are and why you're there. And that can get really like kind of personal and sometimes not related to what it is that you're there for, because they'll ask you about like family relationships, personal relationships, like military experience, stuff like that, stuff that they just want to make sure that they understand who you are. And a lot of times they won't charge for that. And so going at least that one time when they're not charging to like have that dialogue and talk about like where it is that you can get resources, guaranteed those counseling centers absolutely have a huge list of affordable resources in your area, because it is recognized that most people cannot afford counseling, and that's part of the problem. So yeah. I don't know if that answer was really helpful.
That was.
No, it was, because that's the first thing someone say, like, you know what, Michelle, you need to get help, and I'm like, well, I ain't paying for no help. I'm not going. I'm just trying to put myself in those people's shoes or whatever. But yeah, that was my last question.
Yeah.
Did you guys have more questions for me?
No, I'm good.
Jazz? You know, what about you, Sunshine?
Sunflower.
I'll ask off air. I know. Press for time.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
You still want to tell y'all her business, I guess.
I think the last thing I'll say real quick, sorry.
No, go ahead.
It's really bad, like, especially in our community, is like, your struggle is not your friend's struggle, is not your friend's struggle, is not your mom's struggle, is not your dad's struggle. Like, what you're going through is what you're going through, and just because someone else is appearing to handle it better than you are does not mean that you need to compare yourself to them. Like, we all have our own individual capacities and abilities to handle whatever it is that we're going through. And because someone might be going through something worse doesn't negate what it is that you're feeling and what you're experiencing. And I think we have a really bad habit of feeling like, well, so-and-so is going through this and through that and through this, so who am I to complain? And it's like, you're someone who's experiencing an emotional trauma. That's who you are to complain. Like, you cannot wait for you to get to a point where everything is unmanageable to decide that, like, you're also going through something. So I just feel like I see a lot of comparisons. I hear that all the time, where people are resistant to therapy because they feel like they don't deserve to be in therapy because they know someone who's going through something worse. And that does not matter. If you are going through something that you feel is becoming unmanageable, or that you're overwhelmed by, or that you'd like to get help with, get help. Like, you can't even help the people around you if you're dealing with stuff on your own.
Exactly. Yeah. And I honestly think that social media plays a huge role into comparing, because that's all we do is compare each other's lives on social media, knowing people only post what they, see as, the highlights of their life. People don't post their problems. I think some people do too much of like, oh, this is where I should be. Like, I'm like this person, this, that.
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of research that is saying that, like, social media, the use of social media has increased depression rates dramatically.
Oh, yeah.
People are so depressed because they think that they're supposed to be somewhere else than where they are. And, like, they really believe that the lives that people are posting are the lives that they're living. Mm-hmm. And I mean, just honestly, we can all identify one person where we're like, girl, that's what I was. You ain't living that life. Like, or like, you posted this party and you told me it was whack as hell. Like, don't sit here acting like you just live in this luxurious, like, party lifestyle when that's not it. So
right, I'm over here trying to front like it's easy being a mom when I'm over here trying to get her and trying to record at the same time. It's not easy. I can't imagine being a single mom. Not easy. Right. And she talk a lot too for a 2-month-old, so it's like I already got this
problems.
Yeah, actually 3 months today. Happy 3 months, baby. Happy 3 months. But yeah, that was my last question.
Okay, well, we are good on that. I guess we can. Did you guys want to do Melanin Media? Or what?
Yeah, let's talk about what's her name. Maybe just one Melanin Media.
Okay.
If that's okay. It's up to you. What you want to talk about?
Yeah. No. The first two things kind of run into each other. So Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain passed away due to suicide, and yeah, that was super traumatic because from the outside looking, like we were just saying, they seem to have a really great life. Like Anthony Bourdain was really respected for his ability to acknowledge he has such much success. So he would go to other countries and like sit with people like natives and like get their opinion on things. People really respected him for that, and I was one of those people that really thought he was really cool. And Kate Spade, being a fashion designer, she had really nice pieces. We just as outside looking in did not think that they'd be the ones to take their own lives, but that was the case this past week.
Money can't buy you happiness.
But yeah, and then I kind of wanted to like talk about how Kofi Siriboe made a short film. Like I think it was like 5 minutes. It was called "What the Fuck Is Mental Health," and he like sits down with people in the Black community and kind of talks to them how we are now with Jazz about mental health and what that is to them and what they've been through with mental health. So you guys check it out. I think it's on YouTube, so it's free of charge. Go there and watch it. It's really cool. Really good take on mental health in the Black community. So that's all I want to talk about. That's it.
Perfect. So, Black Business of the Week.
I'm going to do a Black business out here like a food place, but I feel like something that ties in closely what we were talking about is therapy for Black girls. I know Jazz was talking about earlier how sometimes it's better to talk to people who look like you and can kind of relate to you a little bit more. So there's a site called Therapy for Black Girls, and if you go on there, you can find a list of different therapy, like it's mostly women on there that are Black that are in each state. You just click on your state, and there should be a few people there that are Black women that can help you out with therapy wise. And it tells their like specialty, what they specialize in, where they're located, and they always have their website that you can look at as well. And it's really a good resource for everybody to use if you're looking for a Black therapist.
And what is it called again?
Therapyforblackgirls.com.
Okay. Therapy for Black Girls. Cool. So, last thoughts. Any last thoughts I'm going to leave our listeners with? Anybody? Everybody?
Get help, y'all.
You're not alone.
You're not alone at all. Trust me. I was talking about the price, too. I actually went to a therapist before, and I was diagnosed with depression and anxiety. So, speaking to people makes it more real, and you're able to kind of navigate it better because you don't know what you're dealing with. Then it's kind of hard to work off an empty palette. If you know what you're dealing with, you can able to navigate it a little bit better. So you're not isolated. You're not dealing with it alone. If you speak to a therapist, they can help work out those feelings for you, in my opinion.
Yep, absolutely.
So that's my take on it.
And we're not super women, so for our women out there who believe that we're supposed to be like superwoman all the time, no. Black women have always believed that we're supposed to be like the savior and where you don't need nobody and we can do better all by ourselves, which we've always been taught, but that is not always the case.
Yeah,
she agrees. Yes, so that's my last thought. You're not a superwoman. You're not really bad all by yourself. You could be bad with some help.
Right.
So that's fine.
I would say it's easier said than done, but do more of the things that add to you and do less of the things that take from you. So say yes to more things that help you and help your body and help your mind, and say no to more of the things that damaged you.
Yo, I freaking love Eunice.
I know, she's like, okay.
I'm done.
Yo, bro, you be having a good conclusion. You always have a good quote at the end. Can we, we need to
My
start
clients,
quoting.
just before you leave, I just want to let you know.
Like, here's a unit quote. Okay. Love it. Yeah. But Jazmyne, thank you so much.
We need to have a part 2 already.
We appreciate it. I know you have a very busy schedule, I'm sure. So just being able to take the time out and coming on the podcast and helping our listeners which is
Yeah,
amazing.
not a problem. Thank y'all so much for inviting me. I
Thank
really
you so much.
appreciate it.
Yes. No. Okay. Well, I guess we're gonna wrap up here, you guys. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you guys for
Yes,
listening.
thank you guys. Appreciate it. Tune in next week. Peace.
Peace.